Welcome to the cave.
Welcome to the cave.
Got my bright blue on today.
Cool.
Feeling it. We actually got brought a little something extra.
That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, a little.
We're hanging out in the car.
A little bit of thread. Yeah, it happens. Finally showed up.
Did.
Last time we got together, we were bitching that summer wasn't going to show up, and bam.
It's been 100 degrees.
Yeah.
Too hot to film last week.
I know. Yeah, seriously. So yeah.
So what have you found new lately? Anything new for the cave?
New for the cave. I got a few things new for the cave. I told you about briefly anyway. The art bag. This is a committee release. Smoky Verse. So there's that. We can take a quick look at this real quick. High intensity.
They all are high intensity for the most part.
That's true. Yeah, so I don't know what I paid for
intriguing.
that. I actually don't remember what I paid for this. I bought this, I don't know, maybe a month or two ago. I'm going to guess about $150.
That's what I was going to ballpark.
Yeah. Taste the emergence of awe-inspiring fruity art bag. Notes of, I couldn't pronounce it, muscovado. Sugar swirl alongside searing aromas of ripening barley. Toasted sourdough bread. The wife makes sourdough bread. This should be good. Maybe the wife likes this.
Probably not.
No, I don't think so. But it's worth a shot, right? While sweet peat smoke, of course, orbits ripe tropical fruits plunge your palate into a crushing mouthfeel that implodes on itself with intensity-rich, creamy flavors. Celebrate Ardbeg Day and 25 years of the committee release in style. So that's a classic Ardbeg, right?
Yeah.
You know this is going to be...
Don't break it. We haven't opened it yet.
I know. Don't break it. Always in a green bottle, so you never know what it is, but I'm willing to bet that's actually a pretty light tone.
I bet it is.
Yeah. Definitely looking forward to that.
Green's good. Keeps the UV rays out.
Yes. So there's that. This was actually a gift from my mother.
Nice.
Yeah, it was very nice. There's I suppose a little bit of story. Maybe if we do a tasting on this, we get into the story.
Yeah.
In short, we kind of traded a 1998 Ford Ranger for
that bottle.
For one bottle of Macallan.
All right.
I don't know who got the better end of that deal, but that truck was starting to look like a lawn ornament, so I'll take this side of the deal. This is the Macallan. Obviously, that's a Highlands, part of the Harmony collection.
The last one I think we had of these was really good.
These are all really good. You can debate whether they're worth the money, worth the hunt.
Sure.
But I don't think I've ever had a Macallan that I didn't like.
Yep.
I've had plenty of Macallan I didn't think was worth the money.
Sure.
But I've never had a Macallan I didn't like. So they're pushing the vanilla on this one. This is matured in sherry seasoned American oak, excuse me. 44.2 APV. Palate, creamy vanilla, buttery shortbread, lightly toasted coconut, almond brittle, apple, and sweet oak with a finish of medium sweet and lingering vanilla. This is, now I'm going to expose the cost of the bottle and what you get for a 1998 Ford Ranger that's sitting on the tree line. This is a $200 bottle.
That doesn't surprise me.
Yep. And if we do that, I'll explain the last time we drove that truck, we went to go get a Christmas tree. And the steering column snapped. And we had to get it towed home with the Christmas tree in the bed. But
That's a very expensive Christmas tree.
AAA, man. AAA. I mean, you pay up front. And this one is actually pretty cool because this is definitely something, although I haven't had those, I haven't had this either. I know we got a lot of Blanton fanatics out there. This is Blanton's straight from the barrel. So this is cask strength.
Very
Blanton's. This is courtesy of a lottery win here in the state of New Hampshire.
Yep, I got a regular bottle.
So,
fancy bag.
Fancy bag. Yeah.
Could find use for that.
Yeah. Now these ones, they do have the letter on the horse. So this is the first one I ever laid hands on. So I didn't know if they still did the letter on the horse. And I guess the real question is do these horses qualify for the other horses that you can send to Kentucky and get the showpiece with.
Interesting.
So I like this terminology. Dumped on 8/7/24. Warehouse H, 129.2 proof.
Spicy.
Yeah, that's basically 130 proof Blanton's. I'm really looking forward to trying this. I like Blanton's. Blanton's good, but I also think Blanton's is really overhyped and really overhunted.
Sure.
But the cask strength,
Could be interesting.
that's intriguing. That's coming in at $179.99. So I'm thinking we should do this with the regular Blanton's and the Blanton's Gold.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
See
see
that?
that nice little three-way flight. So, anybody want to see that? Let us know, because I'm kind of intrigued on doing that.
Sounds like fun.
Because I do have the ingredients.
Of course.
But that's not why we're here.
No.
Why are we here?
It's not on today's agenda.
Yeah, but it is tonight's agenda anyway.
All
Now that
right.
I told you what's new for the cave.
So tonight's agenda is Preemption from 1845 Distilling Company from Lowry, Texas. My brother-in-law, Jacobe, sent me this bottle.
That's awesome.
It's distilled just near his house. And this is their small batch cask strength version. It's 117 proof. It's 5 years old. This is bottle 32 of 142. So pretty small batch.
Okay. Texas whiskey.
Texas whiskey, yeah.
Bourbon, right?
Yes.
Yep.
And 1845 is named after the last year that Texas was a country, basically, before they joined the United States. And then Preemption was the giving of land to settlers to bring people to Texas. So their farm that all the grain was raised on, where they make this whiskey, was preempted to them to get them to move to Texas. And the 9 generations of the family have lived there. I thought there's an interesting backstory on the bottle.
It's nice packaging. 5 years. So a little thing about Texas bourbon is it's hot down there.
Yes.
So it's often known that or believed that you don't have to age the whiskey as long.
Really?
Because it's so
Intense in
in the heat, and it gets a much quicker reaction from the barrel. I don't know how much truth there is to that, but logically it makes sense. You and I have seen dramatic differences of the climate.
Oh, definitely.
And how the climate can alter or differentiate itself from one glass to another, one barrel from another. So I actually put a little stock in. Logically, it makes sense to me. You know, it's really hot down there, and I don't know if there's a lot of overly aged Texas bourbon, and it's probably for that reason.
Sure. And I don't know it's not Kentucky, right? For as far as how much bourbon they make.
Right.
So this is a corn, rye, barley blend.
Yep.
So and it's cask strength, so it's going to be spicy.
Oh, yeah, that's right. So it's 117.2.
Mm.
Yeah. You said Jacob?
Yes.
How do we know Jacob again?
So it's my brother-in-law.
Okay.
He's been a real big fan of the show.
Good. Love it. Well, let's So, before we get into this, what are your expectations?
So
You've seen the packaging. You've
did a little research. So I expect it to be sweet, some light fruit notes, but I expect it to be kind of spicy.
Okay, so
Now the reviews say it's quite smooth.
spicy as in seasoning, or spicy as in hot?
So we get that kind of rye spiciness. Since it's got high rye content, I'm expecting some of that rye spiciness, and then that's going to be increased by the proof amount.
Do you know what the rye content was?
They don't tell you
They just said high rye.
Yeah.
Okay. So I would agree. So a little uptick in maybe cinnamon,
Yes.
and yes, a little bit more spice from a heat perspective.
But it gets good marks as far as like what people say online about it.
Do we know what it costs?
It's $85.
Okay.
Ready?
Yeah. Thank you, Jacob.
Cheers.
We'll tell you in a second whether we like it or hate it. Classic bourbon nose to me.
Yeah, but it's got
I'm not getting that cinnamon.
no.
Getting vanilla and marshmallow.
I get that. It's sweet.
Yes, definitely sweet.
Light. I don't get a lot of proofiness on the nose.
I'm getting none of the proof on the nose.
Sometimes your nostrils will get a little burn if it's, evaporating.
It's thick on the nose. It's good.
Ready?
Yeah. The heat's there a little bit there. Not in a not in the rye manner that I think you were expecting.
No, I mean it's not overly rye, but it definitely has a little bit of spice on the finish.
Sure does.
Kind of end of the palate, beginning of the finish. It's quite smooth though.
It is. I would say it's more. It's not cinnamon spice. It's more pepper spice. This is more. Yeah, like I'm just thinking like a lot of black pepper on a steak.
So it's maybe a weird thing, but for me it's a little bit like baking soda.
Okay.
A little baking soda.
You have to explain yourself, sir.
So we talked like when I say like cooking spices sometimes, so I mean it's that kind of baking soda.
Okay.
It's like when you eat the cake mix before it's actually been cooked, you get this little spice in there, and that's the baking soda in the process.
So, not uncommon, but with the second and the third sip, that initial spice or heat tones down a bit, and now it starts to round off a little bit.
I was thinking it's just the opposite.
Really?
On my second sip, it's lingering longer.
Oh, so it's great linger. I get no problem with linger, but I'm now getting more of a more of the caramel, more of the vanilla, more of the marshmallow. The sweetness is starting to shine a little bit more in the finish versus the heat.
Oh, and that's probably the proof.
Yeah.
And once your tongue's gotten used to the proof,
correct, yes.
then you don't necessarily pick up the proof on the second.
Yeah.
And I think you're right. The proof, the little kind of spice of proof on the first sip goes away by the second sip. Maybe a little. I'm not always the biggest bourbon fan. This is good. I would like maybe a little bit more on that initial palate flavor profile. I think it finishes really well, but that initial hit my tongue could use just a little bit more flavor.
I agree. I wouldn't say it's non-existent, but it's, you get the nose, the initial shot on the palate is almost no man's land for a moment, but the finish.
Like there's a delayed reaction. It doesn't. You don't really taste right away. It takes a little bit before the flavor comes.
But it lingers very well.
Yes.
Very good finish. And it's and helps that it's proofy, but you don't feel like you got to go back to it in order to refill your palate. You're still tasting this moments after.
Oh, it definitely lingers.
I know we're accelerating our process here for the video purpose, but this is something that I could slowly sip and enjoy.
Right,
because it doesn't dissipate
half
after
an
time.
hour.
Correct. Yes. Yep. So yeah, I would say this is a good bourbon. You want to give it a rating?
Sure. The nose was pretty good. I was actually pretty happy with the nose. Like an 8.2. The initial palate and then the drop off from the nose, like a 7.8. I would give it like an 8.4 on the finish. I think actually it comes back around. Now that's a very erratic.
It is.
Kind of rating.
I'm going to be just as erratic.
For me, and I typically don't like that. I like the rating scale to be kind of smooth through the numbers. Not a lot of variation.
I'm going to give it an 8 on the nose. I mean, a strong 8. It is still classic bourbon, so it doesn't really separate itself from, classic bourbon. If I didn't know any better, I could have considered this a classic Kentucky bourbon.
Sure.
A lot of similar profiles
to
what the Kentucky bourbon fans love. The palate does just, that first portion of the palate, like I say, it's almost non-existent. So I'm going to dip it down to a 7.8, and I'll go 8.3 on the finish. The finish is classic. It's vanilla. It's all the things. It is a classic finish that I like in a bourbon, and it lingers really well. You could taste this for 10 minutes after you sip it.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I'm curious to get this in front of some of our bourbon fans and see what they're.
That's a great point.
What their thoughts are.
I would love to know what a true bourbon guy really thinks about this and where they would rank this.
Mhm.
I bet you they'd probably
I like it.
respect it pretty well.
Yeah.
I would definitely put this in the wheelhouse of a common drink.
The
By that I mean I would drink it again. I'd buy it
yeah,
again.
definitely.
Yes, I don't have this on the shelf. I will put this on the shelf if I can get this locally.
I don't think you can. I think it's
Okay.
a very limited distribution.
I wonder if I can get it shipped in.
Well, I know a way to get it shipped in.
That's fair. It did get here, right?
Did get here.
It arrived somehow. This is olive oil, right?
I'm picking up the proof after several sips. Or the rye, one in there. But I get a kind of throat burn on certain bourbons, like after a couple of sips.
Yeah,
And
you
I'm
normally do.
getting a little of that on this one.
Yeah, I know you do. I normally don't get that, and I'm not.
It's not just me.
I mean,
Craig has the same response.
Yeah, well, you couple odd ducks. That's all.
I'm good with that.
It is warming. It's not overly warming, but it does have a
Yeah, I
warming
mean, this is a
tendency.
cold winter day kind of bourbon.
It is. Yes, it's 90 degrees outside because it is 90 degrees outside. Bourbon, but it's a little cooler down here.
A little bit.
Yeah,
Not with these lights on.
but you'd obviously pour this again.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Coming from a Scotch guy, I guess that's a win.
That's as good as you're going to get from me. I will say, that Eagle Rare we had on Friday was really good.
But what did we have on Friday?
The Eagle Rare?
The Eagle Rare really did hit on Friday.
It really did. It was really good. It had
And I've had Eagle Rare many times and just kind of, it's just a, run-of-the-mill, Kentucky bourbon. Not bad, but
I had a couple glasses
for
in a
some
row,
reason it was...
which is weird. I'm strange. I usually don't have
a
couple glasses of bourbon
I
in
know
a
you
row.
had 2 glasses of bourbon back to back. I didn't even know who the hell you were. But you're right. There was something about it. I don't know if it was a cigar or what I was smoking, but it was just hitting with me.
It's nice and mellow. It had a lot of Irish tendencies.
Yeah, you mentioned that too, which is that's the bizarre thing to say, but I mean it is what it is. Your palate's your palate.
Yeah.
And ultimately, who gives a damn what it is? As long as you like the juice, that's all that really matters.
That is all that really matters.
So, but we like this juice.
Thanks, Jacob.
Jacob, we'll cheers one more time to Jacob. Get your glass up. Let's cheers. Jacob.
That's Tom. This is Derek. Thanks for watching.
If you got something you want us to try, pour, rate, let us know in the comments. Give us a holler. And we'll see if we can get it in the rotation. But until then, we'll see you next time.
Good night.